Hello folks, it's Tommy Z, and today I want to share with you a very important lesson from my journey. A journey that took me from sitting in a corporate cubicle to actually becoming a full-time creative craftsperson, to becoming a creative entrepreneur, to becoming a mentor who's now teaching thousands of creative folks, of musicians around the world how to make a living with music. Here's the lesson, folks. Eat lunch alone. What do I mean by that? There's actually a book with a totally opposite title, a best-selling book called Never Eat Alone. But here is Uncle Z saying eat lunch alone. Why? Well, Uncle Z is not going to waste your time with theory, okay? This is a practical lesson from my own journey that was very much helpful in me getting from one environment, taking myself out of that, transforming myself into a completely different person who's working in a new environment, an environment of my dreams, a creative environment, a studio instead of a corporate cubicle, instruments instead of spreadsheets, and creating things that move people instead of talking about leveraging synergies and maximizing shareholder value. The environment that you're a part of reinforces who you are, okay? The people that surround you, the places that you're a part of, the things that you do on a daily basis, they actually reinforce who you are and how you behave. So when I was sitting in my corporate cubicle and I started to experience literally panic attacks, feeling like, what am I doing here? How did I end up here? How long will this go on for? Am I gonna die in here? Because I cannot imagine myself here indefinitely, sitting in this green cubicle, looking at this, Excel spreadsheet. How long is this gonna go on for? And what do I do to change this? Because I certainly feel completely out of place. And you may feel the same way. You may end up somewhere on your journey in life thinking, how did I end up here? I think there's even a song about that. I want you to carve out a half an hour to an hour, however long they give you at your workplace for lunch. Instead of sitting around on your lunch hour with your coworkers, complaining about how shitty your job is, these are the things we talk about, right? And we all justify our dissatisfaction with things. And we're like, oh yeah, it's terrible, right? Yeah, it's terrible. And we're going through this together. It's so terrible, yeah. Do not do this, folks. You're basically justifying the situation as it is, and at the same time, by complaining about it with your coworkers and getting all that sort of positive feedback, you're basically solidifying and validating yourself in this position. You're basically saying, isn't it wonderful that Bob, Susan, Jeff, and me are having a horrible time at this day job, and that's just the way things are, and what are you gonna do about it? Every lunch break, I'd walk away from my cubicle. Everyone was like, Tommy Z, where are you going? Are we gonna get Chinese? You're gonna get some Chinese and complain about things. I was like, no, you guys go ahead. I'll catch you later, okay? I would basically take my journal and I would walk 30 minutes away from the TD Bank Financial Tower in downtown Toronto. Number one, I'd get a brisk walk in, which is always good for somebody who's sitting in a goddamn cubicle all day. Number two, I'd get some silence, slice out a little bit of silence in my noisy day. And number three, I would extract myself from the environment that I was completely embedded in, day out. For most people, they're gonna go through this process whereby they might get excited about their day job. Then after the honeymoon is over, you start getting some doubts, you start getting some frustrations, you start realizing maybe this is not for you. But a lot of people will actually not wanna do anything about this dissonance inside, about this feeling that maybe they're in the wrong place, because they will be embedded in the food court with the coworkers, with the Chinese food that tastes oh so good while you're complaining about the way things are and going, you know what? It's not just me. Everybody's gonna have to go through with it and nobody's doing anything about it, and neither will I. The price that I felt I would have to pay would be losing my soul if I kept sitting there. And that was way more important to me than trying to make myself feel good by eating Chinese food, which made me fatter. People who are unhappy with their jobs, they try to compensate themselves in all sorts of ways. Chinese food, some people will drink, other people will spend money on a luxurious car that they believe they deserve after working so hard at a job they don't necessarily like. I didn't want to do any of those things. I simply wanted to get closer to my calling. So I ate lunch alone, folks. It's a very simple lesson. Eating lunch alone will get you walking away from your workplace, away from your current circumstances, away from the environment that's shaping you and that's trying to impose itself on you, and toward building through small steps a vision of what could possibly happen, of the next chapter. Initially, you won't even know what to do. When I first went to have lunch alone and I opened my journal, I had no idea what to write. It was awkward. I was like, where do I even begin? Well, let's begin with the fact that I don't like being here. Okay, so what's next? What do I not like about this? Identifying what you don't like is gonna help you not to repeat those things, not to get yourself into another job that has the same characteristics as this one. So start with very basic questions. What could be a work day that I would find more enjoyable? What would be a workplace that I would find resonates more with my calling, with my way of being, with my skills? There is no right or wrong answers at first. What you want to do is get yourself away from the noise. For most people, maybe you're a parent, it's very difficult to carve out a slice of solitude in a day. It's very busy, but a lunch hour at the workplace is the ideal time. That's the only time, pretty much, if you have a family, that you can find to be by yourself. The 3 circles that we teach our students in our academy. What am I good at? What could I compete at a world-class level on? What will I send an invoice for? What are some of the skills that I have that are so useful to the marketplace that people are willing and able to pay me money for it? What am I passionate about? You have to have those 3 circles happening at the same time. Otherwise, something will be off. Do this exercise. We encourage our students to do this exercise in the masterclass because sometimes people go through job after job and it's all based on lack of thinking. They have not actually contemplated themselves and their journey and their calling. Circumstances hit them with an opportunity. They're like, oh, that looks like a great job. 27th floor of the TD Financial Bank Tower. I'm gonna have a great business card. I'm gonna take these fancy elevators and I'm gonna walk around with these people wearing suits and we're gonna eat Chinese food and it's gonna be great. It's not really coming from your core. It's not really coming from your soul. So much of our dreams are borrowed, folks. And by taking an hour to yourself during the day, by eating lunch alone, writing down your thoughts, that will be the first step to building a different vision. And trust me when I say this, because I went through this. You pull together 30 days of having lunch alone, you're gonna fill your journal with all sorts of questions, thoughts, and ideas. And you're gonna be coming back to the day job that you previously hated, inspired, motivated, proactive, strong. Even though you're gonna be sitting in the same damn cubicle, still, already there's gonna be a different frequency about you, a different feeling. Why? Because you already started the slow process of transformation just by eating your lunch alone until you're happy with your life. I hope this video made sense to you, folks. If you enjoyed this video, watch this one next. I'll see you there.